ओम श्रुति स्मृति पुराणानाम आलयम करुणालयम नमामि भगवत्पादम शंकरम लोक शंकरम. On the last Friday, we have studied Atma Yoga up till the shloka number 53. And in that, gradually, step by step, how the realization takes place and what is the life of the man of realization and what is the nature of his giving up the body. Up to that point where it is correct. Now drawing conclusion from that, we are being taught again. And the big problem before some people is that Brahman is without attributes. Then how do we think of it? So, lot of hints are provided in the remaining section now about how to meditate on Brahman, what are its characteristics. It is, we say it is nirguna, that itself is a characteristic. So, in how many ways we can think of that is now the topic. So we come to Shloka 54. Yal labhat na paro labho, yad sukhat na param sukham, yad jnanat na param jnanam, tad brahma iti avadharayet. Avadharayet. How to make a firm dharana of Brahman. How to make a perfect conception of Brahman, from which we meditate and we realize God. So, Tad Brahma iti avadharayet. What is that Brahman? Yat labhat na aparo labho. There is no bigger achievement than having achieved Brahman. Brahman is achieved in the sense, today it is not realized, then it becomes realized. Knowing Brahman is attaining Brahman, but it is the highest achievement in life. There cannot be any other achievement in life. Yat sukhat na param sukham. More than that, there cannot be any happiness also. It is the absolute happiness. So, yat jnanat na param jnanam. And beyond that, there is nothing to know also. Brahman is one without a second. Other than Brahman, nothing exists. Having known Brahman, we know everything. So in all these ways, we know that there is no further knowledge to be gained. Now, these are stated in order to remove our digressions of the mind, in order to remove our wrong searches, or we try to achieve this or that. First thing is, in man, there is an inborn tendency that I have to achieve something. Something. Either he becomes a cricketer, a politician, something. His main tendency is I want to achieve something. So to remove that tendency, it is told the other main tendency is to have some happiness. For this pleasure or happiness, what does man does not do? Anything, to any length they go, good, bad, anything, only in search of happiness. And that is never obtained. That is always like a only a shadow, and we are running after that. Golden fleece and all that. So we are told that there is no more happiness than this Brahman. Similarly, there are people who are mad after knowledge. If you go to the ancient times, Narada and Sanat Kumar Samvad we see. Narada was not a man like us, too, hankering after enjoying this or that. But he was mad after knowledge. And when he came to Sanat Kumar, he was already known as a scholar, veteran scholar. So when he went to Sanat Kumar and said, please teach me, Sanat Kumar said, let me know what you already know. Then if something is less, then I will teach you. And then Narada gave the list. You will be surprised. You should read that list. All gross and subtle objects in you, as diverse objects or knowledges as Dhanurvidya and Gandharva. Dance, music, he was expert, and archery he was expert, and gross knowledge and subtle knowledge. He knew mineralogy. He knew the how to play with the snakes. So he said that I know everything in the world, but I do not know my own real nature, and so I am in misery. Please take me out of this misery. Then Sanat Kumar tells him, what you know, Narada, is only name. So, modern times we know several people. One young man in Nagpur, he had 14 postgraduate degrees and as diverse as doctor, engineer, and political science he studied. And he was the minister in Maharashtra government. Passed away very young. So, some people are mad after knowledge. And after getting more and more knowledge, Narad was getting more and more frustrated, atrupta, non-satisfied. That was increasing. But if you know the one reality, then we know everything and the hankering after knowledge goes away. So, yad jnanat naparam. So these are to cut away our digressions and make us directed to Brahman. That is the purpose of the shloka. Tad Brahma iti avadharaya. Yad drishtva naparam drishyam, yad bhutva na punarbhavaha, yad gyatva naparam geyam, tad Brahma iti avadharaya. Having seen it, seen means realized, na param drishyam. There is no object remains which can be seen. We are subjects seeing objects. This itself vanishes because seeing Brahman, which is our own real nature, the subject and object gap itself vanishes. So nothing more remains to be seen. Yad bhutvana punarbhava. Having become that, because knowing Brahman is becoming Brahman. Having become that, we don't have to become anything again. That means the transmigration, the rebirth, all these are dropped because we have become perfected. We have become full. So becoming which, nothing else is to be become. Yad gyatva naparam gayam. There, knowledge, here, object of knowledge. In the previous shloka, there is no knowledge, botany or zoology or anything. Here there is no object of knowledge remaining to be known. If you know it, that Brahma iti avadhara. So all these things are cutting away our digressions and making us one-pointed in our search, pursuit of Brahman. Tiryat urdhvamada purnam satchidanandamadvayam anantam nityam ekam yat tad brahme iti avadharayet. Period. All sides, above, below, everything is full of Brahman. And Brahman is Sat-Chid and Ananda. Existence, consciousness, bliss, Advayam, without any second. Infinite, Nitya, unchanging, one only. Yet, like that, what is there? That Brahma iti avadharaya. So, again, fulfillment of life is being shown, and everything, nothing remains was told, that itself is being demonstrated. That above, below, all directions, we'll see only Brahman, we'll see existence, consciousness, and bliss, infinite, permanent, one only. So, this is the contemplation on Brahman. Now, how to think about it? How to proceed? Atad vyavrutti rupena vedantair lakshate dvayam Akhandanandam ekam yat tad brahmetyavadharayet. What Vedantas do, how they teach Brahman, atad vyavrutti rupen. That which is not Brahman, that is the world we are seeing. World is not the real nature of Brahman. This I is not the real nature of Brahman. It has to be removed. Vyavrutti. Atad vyavrutti. That which is not real, but apparently real, when it is nothing more to be gained, when this is removed, the real nature shines. This is how Vedantas lakshyate. This is how indicating is done in Vedanta. Vedanta does not give us Brahman like that. It does not show Brahman as an object, but it gives an indication that whatever you see is not real. If that becomes dropped from the mind, automatically we get Brahman. So the way to Brahman is appears negative to get the infinite positive. And then one without a second will remain Akhanda Ananda, unbroken bliss. That is nature of Brahman, unbroken bliss. No other Sukha in the world can be unbroken. The Brahman bliss is itself real nature, and we are getting unbroken bliss. We see in the lives of the Mahapurushas. Yat tad Brahma iti avadhare. Let this be the concept. Let you be firm in this concept. Let you meditate like this. Let you contemplate like this. Then you will proceed to Brahman. Now about joy, one more thing. What are the joys which we get in the world? Are they not joys? Like that the question comes. Sometimes people it will find very difficult to give up the small bits of joy, apparent joys. Even eating or this or that, all the joys, what happens to them? Akhandananda rupasya tasya ananda lavashrita brahmadyas taratamena bhavati anandino yat lavaha. Brahman is akhanda ananda, we have been told. Now, a particle of that, shadows, reflections, or a particle of that lava, ashrita, that means on the adhar of that, on the base of that particle of Brahman, Brahmadya Taratamena. That means highest in the world is the Ananda of Brahma, not Brahmana, Hiranyagarbha, Brahma, the universal soul, highest bliss. Devaloka, little less, this little less, little less, little less. We very little, animals still little. So, particle of Brahma joy, particle, even the Brahma joy is a particle of the nature of bliss, which is uh, of the reality. Bhavati anandino lavaha. So small beings like us become happy by getting some small particle of the bliss. So this is telling us, if you get that, don't worry about getting joys. No joy will go away. You will have the real basis of all joys. So this is how to direct our mind towards Brahman. Drishyate, shruyate, yad yad, brahmano tad bhavet, tatvad jnanacha tad brahma, satchidanandam advayam. Whatever we see, we are seeing Brahman, but we do not know it. And we feel we are seeing some small objects, and we are attracted, tempted, or repelled by that. Shuruyate. Whatever we listen, hear, or it includes the Swargaloka, which we hear only from people. In India, we hear America is such and such. So, whether we see, whether we hear, it is not different from Brahman. Yad yad, whatever it may be, Brahmano anyan natat bhavet. If you are getting Brahman, then all these are included. Nothing will remain outside. But Tattva Jnana Cha. For that, we are to realize the real nature. Tad Brahma. All this is Brahman, but today we see it different. If we know the real nature, we will know that this is also Brahman. So, not necessary to know this and know this and know this, or hear this and talk this. If the whole attempt is towards realizing our real nature, then we'll know that all this which we are seeing, dealing, talking, we are only Brahman. And again reminded of its nature, Satchit Anandam Advayam, one without a second, existence, consciousness, bliss. Sarvagam Satchidatmanam Jnana Chakshur Nirikshate Ajnana Chakshur Neksheta Bhaswantam Bhanumandavat. After a long time, an example has come. Sarvagam, all pervading. Satchit Atmanam, existence, knowledge, and our real nature. Jnana Chakshur Nirikshate. If our eyes become eyes of knowledge, if our drishti become, that means if the consciousness changes, that is the meaning. If the consciousness changes and we get the real consciousness of the reality, that is called Jnana Chakshu, not some spectacles. Jnana Chakshur Nirikshate, we clearly see that Brahman is all pervading. So long as we do not have those eyes, so long our eyes are with cataract, so long as our eyes, so long our drishti, so long as we have this wrong knowledge as our drishti, we do not see it. An example is given. Sun is shining by nature, but suppose we are blind, we cannot see that. Suppose we are blind, we cannot see the sun, which is light itself. So it is like blindness that we see some other things. If we get the real knowledge, Ajnana Chakshu, we cannot see. So here we are turned our attention to change our consciousness. And by changing the consciousness, we'll see, realize everything as realize that the Brahman is all pervading. So long we do not do that, things are difficult for us, like blind man. So our present state is being criticized like that of a blind man to urge us to get knowledge. With the help of the Guru, you know, our Guru is described, Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena. One who, my eyes are blind, blind like by wrong knowledge, or some disease has come. Then the Anjana is there, ointment. Then it is applied by a small stick. So Jnananjana Shalaka. Guru has opened my eyes by moving that stick. So I know everything. So that is how Ajnana Chakshu cannot see, though God is everywhere. And yet we can see that if we change our consciousness. I remember here one small incident. My Guruji always used to say, God is abiding reality, abiding reality. Then some young people would ask him, if God is abiding reality, why don't we see him? His reply would be, he would repeat the same question in a different tone. What a pity that though God is abiding reality, why we do not see him? That means every effort should be made to see. We can see a thing where this thing is. We are seeing outside, God is inside. Though God is all pervading, it has to be realized as all pervading. When we realize our own real nature is God, then we see God is all pervading. And so, this is what is being taught, that though God is all pervading, due to Ajnana Chakshu, we are not able to see. Shravanadivir uddipta Jnanagni paritapitaha Jiva sarvamalan muktaha Swarnavad dyotate swayam. I hope I am not missing any shloka. No. Okay. Let me check up. I'm doubting.
Yeah, we missed Swamiji.
54, 55, 6, 7, 8. I turned more pages. That is how I thought suddenly out. 59. Ah, 64, 65 I read, but 59, 60, 61, 62, 63 were missing like that day. So I go back to 59. Tad yuktam akhilam vastu vyavaharastadhanvita tasmat sarvagatam brahma khire sarpirivakile. Lot of beautiful examples are there. So we are, about joy, we were told in 58 that all are only having a very small particle of that joy, even Brahman. Now, that yuktam akhilam vastu, whatever is there is contains Brahman. Vyavahara sadhanvita, our behavior, our relations are permeated by him. Therefore, Brahman is everywhere. Example, Shire Sarpiriva Kile. In the milk, we have ghee or butter. Akhile. Not that in this particular part of milk it is there. It is throughout the milk it is there. But when we churn it, we get it. So, everything is filled with Brahman. All our relations are with Brahman. But we churn our life by the real knowledge. And then we will see Brahman is everywhere. Ananus अनणु अस्थूलमरस्वमदीर्घम अजम अव्ययम अरूप गुणवर्णाख्यम तद ब्रह्मेत्यवधारयेत. So we have to negate whatever we experience. Small things, no. Brahman appears as small things. Big things, no. Brahman appears as big things. Subtle things, gross things, small things, big things. Aja, any process of change or birth, avayam, no change, arupa, no particular form, aguna, no trigunas, no special qualities, avarna, no color, avarnakyam. That is the name of Brahman. Brahman's name is filled with negatives because it is infinite. All particulars are to be denied or negated to get at the infinite. Tat Brahma iti avadharaya. So the right concept of Brahman will come when every finite thing is negated. Yad bhasa bhasyater kadi bhasyair yattu na bhasyate yena sarvamidam bhati tad brahme tyavadharayet. Arkadi, the sun shines by Brahman's light. Bhasyair yattu na bhasyate. It is not an object which will be revealed by the light of the sun or any light in the world. Any light in the world will reveal only objects, but it is the light of all lights. Its light, through that light, even the sun and all these things have got light. It is the light of consciousness. These are physical lights. Yena saramidam bhati. All these are revealed. Even we know the, how do we know the sun? Sun shines. How we know? Because there is knowledge in us. Where from this knowledge comes? It is the name of Brahman. So, even the sun is revealed to us, though it is full of light, this is a physical light. To be aware of the physical light, we require consciousness. And this consciousness is in Brahman alone, because it is one without a second. So, through the consciousness of Brahman, we are aware even of the physical light. Sarvamidam bhati, everything in the world. Sun will illumine physically everything in the world. But we become aware of things only because Brahman. The awareness comes from Brahman only. That Brahma iti avadharaya. Swayam antar bahir vyapya bhasayan akilam jagat Brahma prakashate vanni pratapta yasa pindavat. Another example. So how Brahman reveals? Because it pervades, because it is inside and outside everything. And so it is not an object by which outside light comes on it. Inside is Brahman, outside is Brahman. There is nothing other than Brahman if we change our consciousness. Bhasayan Akilam Jagat. In that way, it illumines the whole world. Brahma Prakashate, and Brahman itself becomes revealed. Brahman makes everything revealed and Brahman itself becomes revealed when we know that it is inside and outside. Example, we take an iron ball and heat it in fire, then that iron ball becomes light or heat. The heat in the iron ball comes from putting it in fire. So when everything is pervaded by Brahman, it becomes conscious. Everything also becomes conscious only due to Brahman. So this is the way we have to contemplate on Brahman. Jagat vilakshanam Brahma, Brahmanonyana kenchana, Brahmanyad bhati chen mithya yatha marumarichika. Here the important word has come vilakshana. I pointed out several times. Brahman is not told to be different from the world. Then there will be more than one reality. So Brahman, the characteristics of Brahman as up till now described are very different from the characteristics of the world. Every word which has come up till now, today at least, you check up and the characteristics of world will be found to be totally different. Light, no light. Permanent, not permanent. Infinite, finite. Everything will become different in characteristics, not actually two things different. Same thing appearing as something else, so that something else which is appears, the characteristics are different, the reality characteristics are different. This is called vilakshan. And once we realize that, Brahmano Anyanna Kenchana, different from Brahman, there is nothing. Not that it is a paradox that Brahman is different from other things and the other things are not different from Brahman. This will become illogical. Brahman has totally different characteristics than what we see. And once we know, and then other than that, Brahman, nothing else, this itself is its characteristics. But something appears different, then take it to be unreal. Like the water appearing in desert. Water appears in desert, so things appear to be separately real or different from Brahman. Brahman is having different characteristics from the world. World is not different from Brahman. If it appears different, take it that it is like water in the desert. So it will go away from your mind. And then we are at 64. Whatever we see here is not different from Brahman. And when we know the real nature, then it appears as Brahman. Sarvagam Satchidatmanam Jnana Chakshu we are told to change the consciousness, then we see that it is Brahman. Ajnana Chakshu will not allow it to be seen, like sun not seen by the blind man. Now turn to 66. श्रवणादिभिर उद्दीप्त ज्ञानाग्नि परितापितः जीव सर्वमलान् मुक्ता स्वर्णवद् द्योतते स्वयं. We feel we are Jiva. But then we listen about Brahman. We contemplate, we meditate. Then the inner knowledge flashes. Inner knowledge, like fire, heats up. And in that heat, our impurities are gone. And we shine. We, instead of feeling that we are Jiva, we realize that we are Brahman. The example given is gold. Gold has to be heated, mind. When gold is heated, then all the impurities vanish and it shines. So in our life, we have to take strain. We have to struggle. And by the struggle, what is the struggle? Not some mountain to be lifted. Shravan Manan Nidyasan is the struggle. Listen again and again. Think about it. Make it firm in your mind. Meditate. Realize. In this way, this is the struggle. And this is like the fire which will heat. That means we have to pass through the struggle. And all impurities will go away. And then, like gold, we will shine ourselves as Brahman. हृदाकाशोदितो हि आत्मा बोधभानुस्तमोपरित सर्वव्यापी सर्वधारी भाति भासयते किलम. In the heart. Important point has come toward the end. All this realization takes place not in the mind, in the heart. Let me talk a little more about this. The center of our life today is I consciousness. And when this I consciousness is there, it becomes externalized by the instrument called mind. And through the mind, this I consciousness goes to the sense objects, senses of knowledge, senses of work. Through the mind, it goes there. Through them, it goes to the body. And through the body, it goes to the outside world. This is man's regular life. Now, center is this I consciousness. Now, this I consciousness tries to find its own nature. Like the filament in the old type bulbs. There is darkness in the room. We switch on, the light comes. Even without looking at the bulb, we say the bulb has given light. Look at the bulb. Has the bulb given light? There is a filament in the bulb which is light. Bulb is like a catchment area. And then it gives light outside. This is the position of eye. That bulb or the catchment area is like the eye. Filament, example only, yeah? Filament is God. So, we derive light from the, so now when we try to find our source of light, we turn inside. We reject the mind, the organs, the body, and the outside world. We turn inside. And that instrument is called the heart. Hriday Guha. Sometimes you will find Buddhi Guha. Buddhi is not this intellect. This intellect is a part of the mind. Buddhi means Bodha. Aham Bodha. That I consciousness, what is the instrument? Where do we live? This is, many people create many types of doubts on this. Where do we feel our I consciousness? You ask anybody, will you do this work? He will say, yes, I will do. Is it not? Not here. Eh? When we fail in a work, we say, hi, we did not do. The brain has failed. But I lives in the heart. And it is both ways. It is like an obstruction. If the eye is looking outside, the Brahman is not being revealed. If this eye turns inside, immediately it gets happiness. So that is called Anandamaya Kosha. And the base of that Anandamaya Kosha is our reality, our real nature. So this is called heart. And in that heart, there is a space, physical space, or the consciousness itself is space there. Hridakasho Ditoi Atma. There, the Atman arises. That means Atman is already there, but because we turn ourselves inside, we see that Atman. And like a Bodha Bhanu, you see the word Bodha has come here. The consciousness is like the sun, Tamaparit, and it destroys our ignorance of separate eye consciousness. Our separate eye consciousness is the darkness of ignorance. If we turn inside and find our reality, automatically this separate eye consciousness drops out and our darkness vanishes. And then what we see? Important thing, because we have seen it inside the heart, I have given the example of the filament, it does not mean it is circumscribed in us. It is not circumscribed. That is only the location where we can realize it. Now, I am searching my reality. So long as there is any association with any type of I or my, we have not reached the reality. Because I is changing, my is changing. We are searching our reality. The moment I and my is gone, then what is that reality? All pervading. There is nothing to call it I or my. Though we start with the idea that I am searching my own reality. And when we are beyond this I and my, then only the reality is there. It is all pervading. So, very important shloka has come at almost the end, that in the heart is the location where you will find your real nature, which is consciousness. It is not circumscribed in the heart. It does not live within the heart. From that, so many theories have come. It is of the shape of a thumb or smaller or like that. But there, the Bodha Bhanu shines, sun lights, and we find that it is Sarvavyapi, Sarvadhari. That means it is itself all and it is supporting all. Bhati Bhasayate. It shines itself and it reveals the world. It shines itself, it reveals the world. It is all pervading. It is the support of all. All this we'll find when we enter our heart. That is the importance of the heart. So, in this shloka, we are saying this, in the space in the heart, Atman arises. It is like a sun of consciousness and it destroys the wrong knowledge, the darkness of the wrong knowledge, and we realize that our real nature is all pervading, our real nature is support of all, our real nature shines itself and reveals all the things to us. So that is the important 61, 67 shloka. 68. दिग्देश कालादि अनपेक्ष सर्वगम शीतादिर्नित्य सुखम निरंजनम यस्वात्म तीर्थम भजते विनिष्क्रिय स सर्वविद सर्वगतो मृतो भवे. Concluding shloka, and the process of realization is described in that shloka. Dig desha kaladi anapeksha. That means it has two meanings, two aspects. One is that God is in this direction. No, God is everywhere. God is in India. No, God is everywhere. God was present then, now it is not there, wrong. God is always there. So, nirapeksha, anapeksha, without expecting any limitations, sarvagam, it is all pervading. Then we face dualities in life. Heat and cold, pleasure and pain, honor and dishonor. All this is destroyed when we realize God. Both ways. We are the pleasure, we are the pain, we are the sukha, we are the dukha. So these dualities do not affect us, they are destroyed. Shitadi, Rit means destroyer of the dualities. Nitya Sukham, permanent bliss. Niranjanam, without any blemish. Absolute divinity is absolute perfection, no blemish. Now, we go to pilgrimage places. What is the best place of pilgrimage? Our own self. Yastu Atma Tirtham Bhajate. Bhajate means take recourse to. Not that it denies don't go to pilgrimages. But the main pilgrimage is we enter our real nature, Vinishkriya. Vinishkriya means I am the doer, I am doing something, this vanishes. When our real nature shines, it is one without a second, it is all pervading, it is not divided into a subject and object, so we are called Vinishkriyam. Not that we sit idle. Vinishkriyam means we go beyond the idea that I am the subject and object. That is the meaning of Vinishkriyam. And so, some in the sadhana, we, Sarvavi, then he knows everything. Sarvagato, I become all-pervading. Amruto, I become immortal. Bhavya. So, the last shloka is telling us that irrespective of anything, another meaning, no question of whether you are in India or abroad or you are living in the east or west or you are this caste or that caste, it does not depend upon anything. All the duels will be destroyed, all pervading without spot. And this is the Tirtha, place of pilgrimage of your own real nature. And then it takes you beyond the idea of subject and object. That is the only meaning, please, of going beyond karma. Vinishkriya never means idle. Vinishkriya means going beyond the very idea of subject and object. And then whatever is there to be known, we have known the reality. And we ourselves have perverted everything. We become immortal, let the body come or go. That is the conclusion. Now, as we have time or otherwise also, let us at a nutshell revise the whole thing. So, about this treatise called Atmabodha, small but wonderful, we saw the one speciality first of all. In one place we got a slight reasoning. Otherwise, examples, examples, and examples. This is a unique book in Shankar's literature. In other books, there is a lot of reasoning more, sometimes examples also. But here, only examples are used as the secondary means. That is one specialty. And in the first shloka, he has declared that you have to do penances, austerities. We refer to Gita, 17th chapter, Sharirik, Vachik, Manasik. That will destroy your sinful tendencies. You have to gain control over the mind. You have to have sufficient vairagya and mumuksha. For such people, Shankar is prescribing this Atmabodha. We have feeling we are impure because of wrong knowledge. If we get knowledge, this knowledge means Brahmasmi, then it destroys ignorance and it destroys this wave also. The vritti also goes away because it came from wrong knowledge. It contains knowledge and this knowledge destroys wrong knowledge and this wave also subsides. World is like a dream. In that we fight and love and all this petty-mindedness and everything is in this dream. It appears real so long as it's there. When we wake up, all this does not exist at all. So long as we see the world to be real, so long as we have not seen the adhisthana, the support, which is Brahman. All the world is imagined in this Brahman just like ornaments in gold. Akasha is only one. Akasha is not made into parts by Ghatakasha. Akasha in jar, these are appearances. Akasha is neither changed nor divided by any this or that. Like that it is. It appears to be divided, but when the wrong knowledge goes away, we see that it is one without a second. Because of different limiting adjuncts, then this Brahman, Kshatriya, Grastashram, Brahmacharya ashram, all that come. As water is colorless and pure, if you put something in that, then color appears. In that example, it is shown. Then we are described that the subtle elements, when compounded, our body comes. And living in the body, we enjoy things. And when the subtle elements are subtle, we get our indriyas and mind, and they are the instruments of our enjoyment. And the beginningless wrong knowledge gives this product I. So that is the root of all this subtle body and gross body, this I. We appear to be body, we appear to be indriyas, we appear to be mind, we appear to be this I consciousness, we appear to be the bliss of union. Finally, we realize our own real nature. All these are dropped like shells. We have to discriminate again and again, like hitting paddy, so that rice will come out. Though Atman is all pervading, we do not see it. We see only in the purified mind. We see it only in the purified mind because light is everywhere, but it shines only in a shining surface. So, though God is everywhere, we do not see it. We can see it only in the purified mind. It is different from all the products of Prakriti, different characteristics, Vilakshana. And it is the eternal knower of whatever is happening in our mind and indriyas and everywhere. When the indriyas and mind is engaged, it appears as if we are engaged. Like the moon appearing running when the clouds are running. It is on the basis of the consciousness of Atman that the indriyas and everything is playing. But they are being superimposed on the real nature as if we are seeing blue in the sky. I am the doer. All this comes due to our mind, which is itself due to our wrong knowledge. When this mind is there, then attachment, repulsion, desires, and all that come. In deep sleep, when the mind is not functioning, all they are gone. So, all this belongs to external mind, not to our real nature. Our real nature is consciousness. Atman is one thing, mind is another thing in our state of ignorance, and a sort of combination takes in our mind, and then I know. I do as in, now I know, is why the subject-object knowledge is the result of wrong knowledge, because the real Atman is one without a second, but we have our mind to play. And this mind divides and it becomes I the knower. In Atman, there is no change. The intellect by itself cannot know anything. So, we see, we know all these our delusions. And our fear also is like that. When we know our real nature, there will not be any fear. Atman is shining. It reveals buddhi, indriya, and everything becomes pervaded by the consciousness. When we know ourselves, we do not require any objective knowledge. And this comes by negating all those things which are not our real nature. Through the instruction from the Guru like Tattvamasi. This body which is ignorance is like bubbles. The Atman is very different characteristics. Again, Vilakshana Shabda is used. That is absolutely pure. Because I am different from body, so all the things belong to the body. Fair, black, thin, thick. Because I am different from the Indriyas, there are no Shabda Sparsha Rupa Rasa Gandha. Because I am different from the mind, so no Sukha Dukkha Ragadvaya Vesha. From that only the prana, mana and everything comes. So in it there is nothing. It is nirguna, nishkriya, all pervading like the sky, always pure. Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam is the way to realize it. When we practice this again and again, then Aham Brahmasmi arises and that removes the ignorance and it also goes away. For that we have to go to a selected place, having controlled the organs, having vairagya, and we have to contemplate only on the Atman. All these things seen are to be merged in Atman and only think of one without a second reality. All the differences, Brahmin, Kshatriya, everything should be removed and let you stay as the Paripurna Chidananda. Even the Triputi, I am the knower, things are to be known, or Atman is known, and I know all this also becomes merged in one reality. This happens by meditation, like fire coming out of wood by friction. And yearning is like the dawn, which way if is maintained, the sun is sure to rise. Atman is actually achieved, but due to ignorance, we are not having it. If we know, we will find that we are that. The jivahood has come as due to mistaking a stump to be a man. In that way, jivahood has come. If the jiva finds its real nature, this wrong knowledge will go away. So, when we know real nature, then I and mine will vanish. And it will see all the world is yourself by the eyes of knowledge. Then it will see that nothing is different from Atman. That is Jivan Mukta. Moha is like a ocean to be crossed. Ragadveshas are like Rakshasas, they have to be killed. The yogi gets peace and lives in himself. The external sukha we get attached to, but we should be removing that, and inside we will find all the happiness. Though we are living in the body, we are not touched by the body. This should be our consciousness. And when these small upadhis go away, we will see we are all pervading. As water is put in water, that will be our condition. And this was up to yesterday. Huh? Then today we have seen everything. So in that way, we come to the end of Atmabodha. Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanam.